Board of Directors of the LCRA Transmission Services Corporation. Today is Wednesday, August 20th, 2025, and the time is 9:05. A quorum is present, and the General Counsel will record each director who is in attendance. This time, everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, both the American and Texas flags. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Didn't need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah, we got it. Got it down. Okay, at this time, Vice Chair Whitten, would you mind having a little prayer for us? We'd appreciate it.
I'd be glad to. Let us pray. Dear God, you are our refuge and strength, always there in times to help us in times of trouble. We have seen so much hurt, pain, and tragedy in the recent month. We ask you for direction after the recent floods. The loss of life and destruction of property is overwhelming and has affected so many. We ask you, Lord, to comfort those in need, give them your peace. Help us to step up and be there for the homeless, the devastated, and the brokenhearted. Fill us with your spirit to comfort them. We ask for wisdom and guidance today as we make decisions that affect the people we serve. In the precious name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Do we have any guests or list of guests today? That's time, okay?
We do not.
Just want to make sure we didn't miss anybody. And as a reminder, if you'd like to comment on LCRA TSC matters today, please sign in at the registration table in the lobby. Okay. At this time, do we have anybody here for public comments? Okay. We'll move that along. Okay. Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Chris Kellner, how are you today, sir?
Yes, sir, doing great. Good morning.
It's all yours.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Chair Cooper, members of the board. I'd like to start by providing an update on transmission's safe and successful performance during fiscal year 2025, which ended June 30th. From FY24 to FY25, LCRA Transmission Services Corporation had a reduction in the total number of our safety incidents, the total recordable incident rate, and our preventable motor vehicle incident rate. In fact, our incident rates are below average for the industry and our peers in the state. The main contributors to these results are a continued focus at all levels on incident review and learning, our risk-based training approach for drivers, and our energy-based safety focus. We'll continue to use these approaches to train our employees and monitor our performance as we head into FY 2026. Next, I'll provide you with a high-level summary of our continued work to provide essential transmission services for the Texans we serve during FY 2025. It was a very busy year for LCRA TSC and employees supporting transmission. LCRA TSC's capital investments in FY 2025 were $864.3 million, an all-time record for LCRA TSC. This spending includes capital projects we have completed, as well as investments in projects that are ongoing. We completed work on 95 projects for a total of $799.6 million in project completions. Some key transmission projects completed to support needs within the ERCOT grid include the continued work on Hayes Energy to Kendall corridor, completion of the Limmer Substation Addition project, and construction of the John Dumas substation. I'll touch on each of these a bit more in detail. In the Hayes Energy to Kendall corridor, we completed 3 projects during FY 2025, bringing the total completions to 8 out of a total of 10 projects. These projects bring necessary reliability and capacity upgrades to a critical 345 kV corridor spanning the Texas Hill Country in Hayes, Comal, and Kendall counties. This project was unique because much of it was performed while the lines were still energized, still hot, due to the challenges associated with taking the lines out of service for an extended period of time to complete the necessary work. Energized work involves specialized equipment and highly skilled and trained crews working section by section to safely perform all the necessary work. The Limmer Substation is a system capacity project located north in Williamson County that supports significant load growth in the area, mostly industrial and data centers. This new 345 kV substation was approved by the board in June of 2024 and completed in time for this summer. Crews connected two 345 kV transmission lines at Limmer to provide enough capacity and developed a 7-acre site. Finally, we completed construction of the John Dumas substation near Maxwell in Caldwell County. This newly constructed substation was built to connect the new Timmerman power plant to the grid. As Phil will discuss in his update to the LCRA board later on today, Unit 1 at Timmerman plant is already in commercial operation. Transmission also will be supporting the grid interconnection for Timmerman Unit 2. We expect that work to be completed during FY 2026. Looking ahead, we plan to invest at least $5.9 billion on capital projects over the next 5 years to support the needs of ERCOT and LCRA TSC's system. Chair Cooper and members of the board, unless you have any questions or comments, that concludes my remarks.
Questions, comments? I've been busy. Well done.
Wow.
Well done, man. What a year.
Thank you so much.
You just get warmed up?
Yes,
Okay.
more to come.
Just, clear your throat for a minute,
Appreciate your support.
Well, we appreciate all you and your team have done. You've done
a great team.
job. At this time, are there any members of the public who'd like to address any of these items? Nope, okay. Hearing none, we'll proceed with the consent agenda, items 3 and 4. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
And a
Second.
second? Okay, David Wilman, whoever. Any further discussions, questions, comments? All in favor say aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we still doing okay on timely and as far as, we keep moving, okay. Okay. Financial report, Mr. Travis, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. If you'll turn to the financial highlights, I'll walk you through the fiscal year end numbers for LCRA TSC. As you heard from Chris, LCRA TSC had a very strong year operationally, and that's being reflected in the financial statements and the financial results that we'll walk you through at a high level. On page 1, chart A, we show net income or net margin for fiscal year. The green bars are positive, red are negative. Net margin is revenues less expenses, but before debt service. Total LCRA TSC ended the year with a favorable net margin of $20 million, or about 4%. Revenues were higher than budget by $26 million due to higher miscellaneous revenues, and that's primarily related to work done for Austin Energy on a project that we've communicated to the board throughout the year. Higher than budget generation interconnect study revenues, higher than budget interest income, and those are offset by lower than budget cost of service revenues. As we've discussed throughout the year, there was a delay in the rate case approval with respect to what we had budgeted for new rates, and so those lower rates, those lower revenues offset some of these previously higher revenues that I just described. Overall expenses were higher than budget by about $5.5 million due to higher outside services, again, associated with the Austin Energy project, and those are fully covered by revenues from the payments from Austin Energy. We also had higher facility lease expenses related to the rate case approval delay, but those were offset by lower internal costs, including labor, transportation, and miscellaneous expenses. On Chart B, you'll see that LCRA TSC exceeded the business plan debt service coverage target of a 1.37 times by 7 points, coming in at a strong 1.44 times. This was a result of the better than expected or better than budget net margin I just discussed, plus lower debt service. On page 2 is the final budget to actual capital spending information. LCRA TSC spent about 98% of the board-approved $880 million. That's about 200 projects overall. Chris talked a little bit about the number completed. There were also projects in play. So $880 million, 200-plus projects, a lot of work done in that area. That construction program had another very successful year, and that success is attributable to all the folks at LCRA, and obviously the transmission folks, but also includes the project support folks, project management, supply chain, legal, real estate, and finance. So everybody worked together to pull that off. Under T301, which is TSC Board Policy, Financial Board Policy, the board has authorized the president and CEO to approve new projects not to exceed $1.5 million and generation interconnects, as well as approving budget adjustments for previously approved projects by the board to exceed, that are expected to exceed their lifetime budget by 10% and $300,000. We report that to the board on a quarterly basis. And there were 5 budget resets in the quarter, as well as 4 new projects, and those are listed below. If you'll turn to page 3, you'll see tracking of our board metrics. We're all in compliance there, as well as the income statement trend. And I'll point out to you that you'll see a large non-recurring jump in net income for the month of June as reported in the financial statements. This is due to a discontinuation of certain regulatory accounting for depreciation and how we account for that depreciation for rate making. Prior to our most recent rate case, we accounted for differences between the accounting methods between the accounting method and the rate recovery method by taking those differences to the balance sheet. With our last rate case, we changed our rate recovery approach, and we no longer have to track those differences. So we eliminated those, removed those differences from the balance sheet, and which had a large one-time favorable impact on net income. Detailed financial statements are on pages 4 through 6, and investment and debt information is on page 7. Be happy to answer any questions on LCRA TSC financial performance for 2025.
Further questions? I know we had a very lively, very informative committee session yesterday.
Yes, sir.
I mentioned that because a lot of people think that are in the audience or may be in the audience that with the committees we break into go over these very thoroughly and bring them, act in accordance to bring them the recommendations to the board. So that's why sometimes there aren't questions asked. But if there are any more, please ask. Thank you, Mr. Travis.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next, we'll discuss the action items. Is that correct? No. Okay. And are there anybody any members of the public that have signed up outside that want to address the board? Still none. Okay. We can move on to item number 5, capital improvement projects approval. Josh Cole. Good morning, Mr. Cole.
Good morning.
Howdy.
Chair Cooper, members of the board, I've got item number 5, capital improvement projects. We've got 12 projects for you today, so I brought the big water bottle just in case. I tell you what, you give our planning team a month off and they will get busy. As usual, we will put these projects for your consideration, and upon your consideration and approval, we'll go execute these projects. And once we finish that, we will take those projects, once completed, to the Public Utility Commission of Texas and receive revenues through our rate recovery there. I'm going to walk through each of the 12. There are 4 service reliability projects and 8 system capacity projects that make up our 12. Please stop me with questions as we go through. Sound good? All right, first up, Buchanan CTC to Kingsland 1 transmission line overhaul. This is a $20.7 million project with an anticipated completion date of June 30th of 2026. We'll be overhauling the approximately 6-mile line between Buchanan and Kingsland in Llano County. We'll replace the structures and the conductor and add our optical ground wire or fiber to that line. And then the associated equipment at each substation on the end of that line will also be upgraded. Next is the Buttercup substation upgrade. This is a $4.1 million project with a May 15th, 2026 completion date. This will include installing the circuit breaker switches, arresters, and other substation equipment at the Buttercup substation in Williamson County. Next is the Colton to Mendoza easement enhancement system upgrade, and this is an opportunity for us to get a little bit ahead of a future project, which we anticipate coming next year to upgrade that line, ensuring we've got the appropriate real estate and easement rights. So that's what this project will do, $1.9 million estimated cost and a projected completion date of December 31st of 2026. Obsolete circuit breaker replacement, FY24 substation upgrade. This, as it notes, will replace circuit breakers at 2 sites in Flatonia Substation in Fayette County. Probably at 1 site in Flatonia Substation in Fayette County. Anticipated $2.1 million cost and December 15th, 2025 completion date. Canyon to San Marcos transmission line upgrade. This is sort of along that I-35 corridor around San Marcos. This is a $22.8 million estimated cost with a May 15th of 2026 completion date. And this will upgrade the capacity of that transmission line in San Marcos, between Canyon and San Marcos Substation in Hays County. We'll replace the conductor structures and install optical ground wire there as well. Next, Gabriel to Split transmission line upgrade. So this is sort of on the east side of Georgetown. This is a $13.7 million project that will increase the capacity of this line between those 2 substations, the Gabriel Split substation, an estimated completion date of May 15th, 2026. The scope will upgrade the conductor, the structures, and install the optical ground wire. Next is a Georgetown power transformer upgrade, and this is just on the west side of Georgetown, $64.4 million estimated cost, and completion date is December 31st, 2027. And this will actually be our first gas-insulated substations. So if you think about our substations and our footprint, they tend to be air-insulated, big, large parcels of property. This is on just over an acre, right in the heart of Georgetown, which, as we all know, has grown a tremendous amount, and there just isn't space to do what we might normally do. However, there's another solution, another technology, and this will be the first time that LCRA has implemented that. Our engineering folks are pretty excited about that, as are our construction and maintenance folks. So it'll be a really interesting project for us to do there. It's the prudent fit from a planning and a system standpoint, and with Matt's team's help, it's a prudent cost to provide the necessary service for the folks in and around Georgetown, given the footprint and other constraints. Waco Springs Substation Addition, and I've been assured it is Waco Springs, not any other pronunciation. Although having a mother from Waco, Texas, I take some offense to that. This is a $15 million estimated lifetime budget, a May 15th, 2026 completion date, and this will add a new substation, including a metering facilities, a point of
How would you
interconnection.
pronounce it, Josh?
What's that?
How would you pronounce it? We're not Waco.
I've been schooled and instructed it's Waco, so that's how I'm.
They just stay with that? Okay, all right, thanks.
I might a little Waco, but that's okay. I might emphasize the H there, so slight. And this will be in Comal County. On to the Ridgemar Circuit Breaker Addition. This is up in Williamson County, east of that 183 corridor up there, $2.8 million. This will provide another point of interconnection at the Ridgemar substation, anticipated completion date of October 31st, 2026. On to the Schleicher County property acquisition, $4.3 million estimated cost, June 30th, 2026 completion date. And this is to look to acquire roughly 135 acres out in West Texas, along with all the other associated due diligence costs. So the total budget includes a number of things that are required to support that acquisition, not just the acquisition itself. On to Settlers Upgrade. This is $48.6 million anticipated budget, October 19th, 2026 completion date. And this will provide a new upgrade the substation to provide a new load serving capability in Bastrop County. And then finally, Twin Butte Circuit Breaker Substation upgrade, $5.4 million anticipated lifetime budget, May 15th, 2026 anticipated completion date. And this will increase reliability and operational flexibility at the Twin Butte Substation in Tom Green County, install circuit breakers and supporting equipment at that station. And unless there are any questions, I'll stop talking.
You want to take a drink a minute before we ask for questions? Anyway.
What's the intended use for the Schleicher County property?
Sure. That's to a potential future site for a substation for our upcoming 765 Permian Basin project.
Other questions, comments?
I was curious on the Georgetown power transformer upgrade. Can you educate us maybe a little on the technology of this gas insulated switchgear and kind of what that means, since this is our first endeavor into this type of technology? Is that correct?
It is. I'll look to the gentleman to my left to, I'll be at the edge of my engineering competencies if I attempt to do that. And certainly our engineering folks would love to talk to you about it anytime.
Yeah, so as Josh described, most of our facilities are air insulated. And so you've got high voltage equipment and you can't let it get within a certain proximity of each other. The dielectric of air, or the ability to withstand that voltage, it is what it is. And so you have to space out equipment. But another approach, when you have a more condensed situation, is to use gas insulation. And so we use actually what's called SF6, sulfur hexafluoride, which is a specific element that has a much higher dielectric than just air. That allows you to put things closer together and hit, a more compact site. And so we're installing equipment that would usually take many more acres within that existing footprint, which is essentially in downtown Georgetown. And we're installing new power transformer equipment with much greater capacity than what's there today. So it's really interesting technology. It's proven technology. Austin Energy actually has some facilities because of their urban service territory and environment, more downtown situated. So yeah, we're very excited and have worked with supply chain, Matt's team, Jim's team, and all the engineering folks. So it's a great plan for that type of situation, which we don't always run across, but it's definitely warranted here.
Is that SX2, is that a continuous flow, or is it contained, or?
It's contained. It's contained, and you'll monitor it to make sure that you don't lose that. You'll top it off as needed. And it's the same element, essentially, or combination of elements that we have in all of our breakers. So when we replace obsolete circuit breakers, like another project on here, a lot of the older technology used just oil. It's just literally sitting in oil, and that's the dielectric, or again, that ability to withstand the voltage. More modern technology uses SF6, sulfur hexafluoride, which is a very dense gas. The denser the gas, the greater ability to withstand that flashover that you would see otherwise.
Is it dangerous, that SFX?
It's not something you would want to ingest, but it's not dangerous per se. It's actually a very dense liquid. And so, I've seen videos where you could have a container and it would sit in the container, right? Because it's so heavy relative to your normal air.
Okay.
Does it require more maintenance long-term, cost and stuff like that, or?
Not appreciably. There is monitoring that goes into that, but it's a intact, integrated facility that has like a closed loop situation where, you're not expelling gas continuously, and we closely monitor what that looks like from an environmental perspective. And we actually report our SF6 intake and output and usage over the course of the annual year to the EPA.
Do you foresee us maybe doing more of these type of projects in the future using this technology?
Potentially.
Okay.
It really depends on sort of land constraints and the nature of the service environment. A lot of ours tend to be in more suburban, rural areas, so there's not really that compelling need. But to the extent we do have things that are more constrained physically, urban environments and things like that, then absolutely, yes, we sure could.
Is it costly?
I'm sorry?
Is it costly?
It is more costly. Some of that's offset by the reduced real estate footprint, right? You don't have to go and acquire 7-10 acres. You're living in a smaller footprint, and the technology is the trade-off for the real estate.
Does that have greater longevity, or?
Comparable longevity. Again, we're using that SF6 gas equipment that's the same as many, many breakers that we have. And so you're looking at decades.
Okay.
Yeah, good life. And it's all contained within a building, so it's going to look like a building, not really like a typical substation facility that you might be used to.
I'll be darned.
Well, I'm glad, Chris, that y'all find solutions to solve some of these problems, especially with the demand there in Georgetown as well. So
Appreciate that. It's great work by planning, engineering, supply chain, really everybody, again, to get creative and do what we need to do. Great questions.
thank you.
Additional questions?
Bobby's back.
Well, no, I see Director Lewis, but he's been ciphering. This is anywhere close to waking him up to make a motion. So, I mean, somebody else is gonna have to pick up this is as close to the $500 million mark. So, Bobby, just go back to sleep, okay?
I thought I'd pass that baton to Director Willman last time.
There you go. Yeah, you do pass it to Wellman. Let's see who you gonna pick on today. Yeah. Look at there. I see Aiden down here. He said he got roped into the $1 billion deal last time. So anyway, in all seriousness, do we have a motion? Motion by Joe, second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much, Mr. Cole. Good questions.
Oh, here comes Mrs. Real Estate.
Yeah, here we come, yeah. Item number 6, acquisition of interest in real property, use of eminent domain in Gillespie County, and Mr. Mark Summerall. Howdy, Mr. Summerall.
Good morning. Good morning, Chair Cooper and board members. The first real estate agenda before you is a request for the authorization for the use of the power of eminent domain in support of the Fredericksburg to Peach transmission line overhaul project. This project will provide for the continued reliable transmission of electric energy on the Fredericksburg to Peach T379 transmission line. The request before you includes one easement amendment needed for that project. And to give you some context, we're amending these easement rights where our easements may be deficient. So we're acquiring additional rights within the existing transmission line corridor. And these underlying easements date back all the way to the 1920s, so just about 100 years old. Generally, we're seeking the right to change the voltage and to change structures on the line. Initial offers have been made to each landowner based on third-party appraisals of those additional land rights, and we seek board authorization only to use the power of eminent domain if we are unable to reach an agreement with that landowner. Staff recommends approval of this item, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions? Item 6.
I would just add one thing, Mark, maybe you and Chris can talk about the legacy behind these projects and what's different about them than our normal process from CTEC and the acquisition and such.
Well, these were actually acquired from West Texas Utilities.
That's how long ago it is, right?
Back in the 1970s, and we see this a lot on acquired easements, and even easements as we go through the different eras. Traditionally, easement rights were tailored to the specific needs of the era, and given modern design standards, growing infrastructure needs, those easement rights can be deficient. So that's when we reach out to those landowners to acquire specific rights needed for the new upgrade projects.
And one thing you've worked with legal on, and Chris, is to standardize this so we have a lot more of an umbrella approach in the future. You're going to talk about that sometime.
Exactly right. We're trying to have a long-term vision and get away from the exact needs of the specific project so that the people sitting in these seats in the future aren't having to constantly amend as technology changes, as easement rights requirements change. Yeah, very good point.
Good, thank you. Makes sense. Additional questions?
On these easements, so we already own the easement, and it represents a certain square feet of property, correct, that our easement is on?
That's correct.
So we're not really acquiring any more property, we're just acquiring a different use on that property to make sure that those landowners are good with it? Is that kind of the rationale behind this?
Yes, Director Ford, you're right on target. We own the easement rights that we occupy today, and we are just amending for specific rights within the corridor. So, for example, there could be a structure limitation on a specific property where it says we can place one structure, and perhaps the design now requires two. And so it's just kind of getting those limitations removed from the existing easement area.
The value of compensation that we will pay, it would be limited because we're not actually taking property.
Exactly right. Yep, and we rely on independent third-party appraisers to appraise that individual right that we're seeking.
Okay. How much opposition do you get to those kind of situations? I'm just kind of curious what you see out there in the market.
Well, often I will say that we bring this for board consideration just as an option. But I will say that our history shows that we are able to negotiate with landowners for those specific rights. And we definitely use our good neighbor approach when engaging with our landowners to reach an agreement. Oftentimes, we will use eminent domain, as I mentioned, always as a last resort. And sometimes it's not because we can't reach an agreement, it's perhaps we have a title, a cloud on title that needs to be resolved, or perhaps an owner that is not able to be located. And so that requires us to go through that process as well.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Mark, ballpark, how many eminent domain have you had to use?
Well, our fiscal year 25 was up a bit from our previous years. We had 18 petitions filed. Yep.
Now
Out of
speak
how
to
many-
the,
out of how
speak to the
many?
net
Out of
number,
a lot.
percentage. Yeah,
What's the-
Out of 320 acquisitions, so about a 6% petition filing number. I will say that we do have a good history of still negotiating with landowners between the petition filing date and the special commissioner's hearing. So it shows that we always try to work out an agreement with each landowner even before we have to get to a hearing. And so if you look at just what we took to hearing, it drops our eminent domain rate down to 1.5% for fiscal year 25.
No, excuse me, go ahead. I'd like to give you credit for the job you do. I'm continually amazed at how you acquire these easements. Yep. And at the price you acquire them at. Right. I give you a lot of credit for that.
Thank you. I have an excellent team, and
It's a very difficult job.
it is. And I think the support of the board and of our executive team, of how we engage with landowners, is just best in class.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'm very sensitive to landowners' rights. Yep. And you do a tremendous job.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
y'all have taken what Phil and the team has built over time, and LCRA is kinder and gentler, and this shows in how y'all handle this in a lot of ways. So it really does. I mean, settling that, I'll say the other side is, for me in Wharton County and Joe in Matagorda County, the judges, we serve as special court-appointed commissioners for condemnation. We wouldn't make any money because you settle everything.
We sure
we
try.
don't get to hear it, so it beats us out of fun, but y'all do a great job in all seriousness. And I echo what it just amazes me. That's good. Kinder and gentler is great. Handle it properly, so.
Thank you.
That being said, any other questions? Okay, we need a motion on the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, next, you're still on, Mr. Summerall.
We have one more.
Acquisition interest in eminent domain at Gillespie County again. Go ahead.
I will sound a bit like a broken record. We are requesting board authorization for the power of the use of eminent domain, for the authorization to use that power in Gillespie County in support of the Gillespie to Peach transmission line overhaul project. This is a sister project to the one I just described. This project will provide for the continued reliable transmission of electric energy on the Gillespie to Peach T679 transmission line. The request before you includes 5 easement amendments required for the project. And this is exactly the same situation as the previous item. We are amending and seeking additional rights within our current rights-of-way. Those easements also date back all the way to the 1920s, and we're seeking the right to change voltage as well as structures on that line. Again, initial offers have been made to each landowner based on a third-party appraisal, and we seek board authorization to use eminent domain only if an agreement cannot be reached with landowners to make sure that the project is completed on schedule. Staff also recommends approval of this item, and I'm happy to answer any questions on this one.
Any questions?
Can you speak a little bit to the dollar value that we're offering right now that's on the table, and maybe what you think maybe
I sure will. In
the ultimate
fact,
price?
there is an exhibit that will show
In the
you,
back here on
It's on the back.
35, page 35.
page 35. Yeah, the approximate value illustrated in that table is based on that third-party appraisal. And that is for the individual rights that we are amending. Yep.
Is Peach a town?
I don't know. You want it to be one?
Is Peach a town?
Peach is located, I would say, almost
You know,
within
Fredericksburg Peaches.
downtown
I know,
Fredericksburg.
I know they have peaches there. I've never
I
heard
always
of it.
figured it's that, right?
It's a substation.
Okay.
They just named it after their favorite fruit. Any further questions? It's a good question, though, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, is there
And
a
Director
motion?
Ford,
I'm sorry.
if you'd like, when we're done, we can spend some time with you on how our process works and greater detail on when Mark goes in and how we negotiate and the approximate values we try to ascribe to, say, the good neighbor policy. I think it's been very effective and how we try to create a win-win with the landowners, ourselves, and getting the project done in a timely manner. So we'd love to have that conversation as to the degree you'd like.
That would be good, Mr. Wilson. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Additional questions, comments? Item 7, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Motion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Summerall. Appreciate you.
Peach does not show up on the mapping deal.
I didn't think so. I would have known about it.
Well, if you can talk to them about starting your own town if you want to. but- Okay, at this time, staff and guests may be excused while the LCRA TSC Board goes to an executive session. And we are staying here in this room, so.
And unless you're part of this conversation, y'all can go ahead and go with your staff too. So thank you.
Okay. We will now go into executive session. The LCRA TSC Board of Directors pursuant to sections 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, 551.076, 551.086, 551.089, and 418.183F of the Texas Government Code. Today's date is Wednesday, August 20th, 2025, and the time is 9:41. Okay, we have now concluded the executive session of the LCRA TSC Board of Directors and now return to open session. Today's date is Wednesday, August 20th, 2025, and the time is 10:26. Are there any other items to come before this board today? None? Hearing none, then we stand adjourned at 10:26.